Okay, I wanted to spend a little bit more time on these two problems than we were able to in class. I'm going to look at the notes, number 13. This is right below all the function evaluation stuff. And then this problem I just copied from worksheet 3, number 10. This is a problem that often students have questions with. I won't be around tomorrow to answer those questions, so I just wanted to make sure that you had a pretty thorough explanation of these two problems because they are similar. So this first problem, they're asking me to do f of x minus h minus f of x over h. Now, the only thing we're really going to change here is the numerator, and I'm almost solely going to focus on this little piece right here. So they're just asking me to take this x minus h and plug it into f of x, right? So I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to do this in pieces because this can get complicated if you want to solve this all as one problem. So if I plug that in for x, instead of x there, I have the quantity x minus h, making sure that I use those parentheses to sub in. So then I'm just going to distribute that. -3, be careful with your signs, and then that -5 is just going to stay the same. And then they want me to subtract f of x. And this is kind of the tricky part because they're saying subtract that entire function. So you are going to subtract -3x minus 5, right? And then the denominator just really isn't going to change. You're just going to have an h in the denominator. There we go. Up here, I'm just going to do this so I don't have to rewrite this entire step. This is going to turn into a plus 3x. This is going to turn into a plus 5. And if you notice, this -3x and positive 3x will cancel each other out. This 5 and this minus 5 will cancel each other out. So what we end up with here is 3h over h. And then when you reduce those h's, you're just going to get a 3. And that's it. That is that problem. Pretty quickly. The actual notation's a little bit tricky. Now, number 10 is going to be a little bit dicier because it looks exactly the same, but we have this number 1. I'm going to treat this as kind of two different problems here. So I'm going to evaluate right now this first bit. And I'm going to take this function 7 minus 4 times r, and we want to replace that r with 1 plus h. We're going to distribute that, so we get minus 4 minus 4h, and then this will turn into 3 minus 4h. And then I'm just going to do this other part separately, right? They want me to subtract 1 k of 1, or minus k of 1. So I'll just do this in blue here. So they want me to subtract that. And this one we can actually evaluate. And I'm going to put a little parentheses here just to protect that. We're going to plug in 1 for my r value. 7 minus 4 is 3. And we are going to subtract that 3, right? So you can see where that comes from. And then the rest of this stays the same. You are just over h. Those 3's are going to cancel each other out. You're going to get -4h over h. The h's cancel, and we get -4 there. So not so bad. Those are very similar questions, but what I would recommend is you kind of divide that numerator into two separate things. And really to go back to that first problem, this bit right here where you have to subtract, I think that's where most of the mistakes occur. But make sure you reduce those. Take your time, do these in pieces if necessary, but I thought these would be important questions to call out for the quiz, and also they're questions that students frequently struggle with. I hope those explanations help.